Hi guys, it's Nancy and I'm back with another card design idea as part of the new Catherine Pooler release for April 2022. And we're going to start with making our background using the brand new Filigree background stamp. It's a cling red rubber stamp. And I'm just going to stick that to my glass mat. And I'm going to do some heat embossing. So I have a piece of watercolor cardstock here. It has a textured side and a smooth side. We're going to start on the smooth side. We're going to use our anti-static tool. Okay. And we're going to use our Wow embossing pad. Ink that up. Want that nice and juicy all over the place. Feel like I missed a spot right there. Okay. I'm going to take the smooth side, place that down. And this piece of cardstock is a little larger than 5.5 by 4 1/4. Take my little piece of junk mail and rub that all over. Okay, make sure I have full coverage. Now I'm going to lift, move my stamp out of the way. I do believe I do have full coverage. And I'm going to take some Wow Super fine clear embossing powder. Yes, I know that's a very large jar of embossing powder, but can't go wrong with the Wow Super Fine Clear. So we're going to take and dump a whole bunch of this on here. Ooh, that looks pretty good. I don't know where that little speck of red came from, but that's okay. We're going to ignore that. I'm going to turn my heat gun on, give that a minute to warm up. Alright, and because this is watercolor paper, it's not going to be completely smooth. There is going to be some texture to it, but that looks pretty good. And now comes the fun part. We're going to get messy. So I have a non-stick media mat here. I'm just going to put that down. And I've grabbed 3 of my favorite colors, ink pads, and a spray bottle. So we have Pucker Up, Catching Rays, and Something Borrowed. And I'm going to grab Pucker Up. And I'm just going to spread a generous amount of that down. Some Catching Rays in the middle here. And some Something Borrowed on the end. And then we're going to spray and we're going to do some ink smushing. So we're going to take some water. Make that ink nice and juicy. And then you can just take your fingers or an embossing tool, a silicone tool, whatever you have. And we're going to go right into this. You could probably make a couple panels with all that ink I put on there. And we're going to get some fun rainbow looks here. Because Catherine Pooler inks are water reactive, you can do fun techniques like this. Grab a little bit of that yellow there. All right. And it's okay if you have a little bit of white space. You don't have to cover the whole thing. And I'm gently going to dry this with my heat gun. I'm going to grab a paper towel to sop up some of this extra. Another piece of watercolor paper. I'm going to grab all of this. Just putting some more water down. Don't want to lose any of that goodness, so we can use this on another project. And then this, we're just gonna wipe this up. All right, we'll set that other piece aside to dry. We're gonna move this out of the way. Okay, there's our panel. We have a little bit of wet spots there. Look at how pretty that came out. Very, very nice. Okay, so we're going to set that aside to dry while we stamp our sentiment. And I'm going to grab one of these sentiments. And I'm going to grab the Ex Libris dies here. And I'm only going to use, really the only part of this I want is the center, okay? I like the framed look, but on this one, actually, no, I think I am going to use the frame look, but we're going to do a little differently here. So, I like this one. In case you ever foolishly forget, I am never not thinking of you. And we're going to just stamp that on some Catherine Pooler Premium cardstock, which I forgot to cut. Let me grab a piece of that. This is nice 100-pound cardstock. So first thing I'm actually going to do is cut this down. To 5.5 by 4 1/4. down. This is the one I'm going to die cut and stamp, and I also want some black cardstock. And cut this down to 5.5 by 4.25, and an extra piece of this. Okay, so the black is actually going to be my card base. I'm going to score this at 4.25. Flip that over and crease it. Okay, and then cut one of these white pieces down to 5 by 3 3/4. That'll go on the inside of my card. And we're going to die cut the frame out of white and out of black cardstock. So I'm going to keep this into the center. That way if I want to use this black as a frame in a future project, I can. So I'm going to cut that out of the center. And this is going to be my outer frame. I wasn't going to use a frame, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think that'll look fabulous. And then we'll have this extra inner piece. And then I'm going to cut the frame again out of white so that we can stamp our sentiment. And again, I'm going to cut that out of the center so I can use the outside as a matte layer later on in a future project. See, this is going to come together quite nicely. So I grab my stamping block. This is the new larger circular stamping block. I'm going to line that up on the grid lines. Okay, I'm going to grab the white cardstock, center oval, and I'm going to use pucker up. I'm going to practice stamping this on scrap paper because I can see my ink is beading up just a little, and that's only because it's a brand new stamp. So we need to season it a little bit by just practice stamping it. Otherwise, see, I get some beading there. So if that ever happens to you with brand new stamps, you just stamp it a few times and then the ink will absorb better into the stamp and stamp better, smoother for you. So we don't have that beading. Okay. All right, this is going to look pretty darn good. All right. And now we're just going to assemble everything. I am going to cut my card panel down a little bit to 5 1/4 by 4. Just a little bit off each edge. Still have ink on there I need to wipe up. Alright, let me just grab my paper towel and wipe that up. I still have ink that's not dry. There we go. Now we can see all our clear heat embossing come through. really pretty. Okay, this is going to be the inside of our card. So this is the 5 by 3 3/4 white card panel. This is the Catherine Pooler cardstock. I'm going to put that on the inside so I can write my sentiment. Okay, and then on the outside, we're going to put our beautiful ink smushed panel. Because this is watercolor cardstock, you want to be very generous with your glue. And then we're going to use the black frame. Now you could do it without, but I do think the frame does set that off. I wasn't going to use the frame, but now that I see that on there. And I'm going to grab some brads so we can put some brads behind there. So let me pause the camera and find those. Okay. Found some silver brads. They are tiny little silver brads. So we're going to use those. First thing we're going to do is foam tape this all together. Foam tape is going to give it dimension. It's also going to hold the sentiment oval inside the frame. You could put a little piece of tape in there if you wanted to. I'm going to line that up inside. Put my little foam tape right there, and the foam tape will hold all of that together for me. I have a little bit hanging off the edge here, and here. Give a little bit of a trim. And before we adhere that down, we're going to put our brads in. So this gives us a little spacing for our brads. So you push the brads through the front, and then you open up their little wings like this. And once, actually expose the foam tape right there and stick that down on there. You can kind of angle them a little bit so they don't show. There we go. Let's do this side. Poke the brad through. There we go. Still have a little piece of foam tape hanging off the corner here. I want to remove that. There we go. There we go. Now it's gone. Okay. So now I can put this down. Right there. And we have a fun faux watercolor looking background using Catherine Pooler inks, the new Filigree background stamps, and the new notable quotable sentiments, and the Ex Libris frames. What do you think? Pretty easy to do, guys. I love it. If you have any questions, post them down below. I will put in the description for you guys the links for everything if you want to go do some shopping. I do get a small commission, so thank you guys for clicking my links when you are shopping. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys, and keep on stamping. Bye-bye.